wanted this forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey. Ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early, feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode podcast to talk about our favorite team. Huge shout out to the people that are currently in the chat right now. Appreciate y'all for being here. Happy Friday. Today, we're going to be talking about, I'm assuming if you're in the chat or if you're watching this on a replay, you're an Arizona Cardinal fan. We are 1-3 right now. Not a good spot to be in. At all, right? But we do got a division match coming our way here on Sunday, and today we're mainly going to talk about, obviously, if you don't see the title, Kyler Murray, right? Is this Kyler Murray's biggest game of the season? Is this going to be where he needs to turn it around, right? Turn this franchise around. We're going to be diving into all that today. We're going to get very, very involved in the chat as well. But I want to give a huge shout out here to the sponsors of the video first before we get started. And that's going to be none other than BetUS. If you're looking for a brand new sportsbook, BetUS is the way to go. If you use promo code YouTube150, they will provide you a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit, and on the following two deposits will be a 125% sign-up bonus. That is going to be up to $2,000 by using promo code YouTube150 upon signing up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I know we're all here to talk some Arizona Cardinals, ladies and gentlemen. Let me give some shout-outs to the people that are currently in this chat. We got JK Gamer. What's up, man? We got RG. RG, what's up, man? Appreciate you for being here. We got Trash Boat. We got Mace. We got Michael. We got Richie G. Jesus up in the chat. Silver Wolf, I see you up there as well. Appreciate y'all for being here, by the way. Even if we're live with just 20 people, that's no big deal, ladies and gentlemen. But I understand. I get it, right? This season has had multiple opportunities, right? Multiple opportunities for the Cardinals to do something, and they just have yet to give us a consistent product on the field. So I understand it. I understand that this season is not turning out the way Cardinal fans wanted it to, but it's still young. 13 more games left. Let's see if this Cardinals team can turn it around. And if you're a betting man, I'm not sure if you will put your money down, but like I said, okay, let's dive into Kyler Murray, right? Yesterday, we ended up having my guy, Mythic AZ, on here, and we kind of had a conversation back and forth, right, pertaining to Kyler Murray, as well as, is the Cardinals dead in the water? We also dived into the fact of, is there a chance, right, against the 49ers? And, of course, every time you sit up on Sundays, Thursdays, and Mondays, there's always a fighter's chance, right? There's always a chance for any team to come out victorious, because at the end of the day, it's any given Sunday. And we've been saying that since the beginning of this channel, and that just kind of holds true for even, divisional matchups, right? You don't know. You don't know what's going to happen at the end of the day. So this is a big game. It really is. I think this is a very, very big game for the Arizona Cardinals in the 2024 season. This is a big game for Kyler Murray. Now, I want to be very, very clear. I know right now there is an abundance of Arizona Cardinal fans right now that are, wanting to jump ship, whether it's training, releasing, doing anything. They just don't want to see Kyler. I want to be very, very clear, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think that the intent for the Arizona Cardinals is to trade him away. Now, I don't know what's going to happen if the Cardinals are 1-7, 1-6, right? Or when the trade deadline and we only have one win. I don't know what's going to happen then. But I think right now, where we're sitting, heading into week 5, I don't think that's the Cardinals' intention to do that. So I don't know what's going to happen in 2025 either, right? So that could be a completely different story as well. So I want to be very clear that I understand there's people that are very upset. I understand there's the 6 years is enough for people to kind of make a judgment call. And that's completely fine, right? But I think right now, the only thing we can do is obviously watch this Cardinals organization, see if they can make things right. Now, unfortunately, Jonathan Gannon came out earlier this morning and said that Garrett Williams, our promising second-year cornerback, is out for this game. But we did get some highlights, and that's Trey McBride. Trey McBride will be a go. Seems like he cleared concussion protocol, so I think he's going to be a go here for week 5. So got some good news, but also got some news, right? But Kyler Murray. And I want you guys to also get involved in the chat as well. I think it's very important to not start off at 1-5. Now, I know you're sitting and asking yourself here, well, what are you talking about 1-5? It's gonna be 1-4 if we lose. I know. But we got two teams back to back, right? Playoff teams. And if the Cardinals go 1-4, they're probably gonna go 1-5. Probably, right? I mean, I think the chances is pretty high. Debate me if you want in the chat. That's completely fine. But we got two away games coming our way. One in Santa Clara versus the 49ers, and then the second one versus the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau. So I understand the narrative of the Cardinals actually play a lot better, outside State Farm Stadium. Let's hope that stays true, right? Because we can be living in a world where the Cardinals are 3-3. Is that a far away world, or a world where some people don't believe in it? Yeah, but if there's a slight possibility, right? There's a slight chance. But if the Cardinals lose this game versus the 49ers, and I understand it, right? I'm not sitting here saying you got to win or it's over, but kind of, right? Kind of. I'm kind of saying that because the season of the 2024 season, there's a lot riding on continuing to progress on what you're doing, right? Jonathan Gannon came out today, and I don't know what it is. There doesn't seem to be I don't know, doesn't seem to have a level of urgency, right? Now, obviously, we've said this before. This coaching staff is very, very good at answering a question, but not answering a question, right? Answer a question, but not answering a question, because we're kind of in an instance right now where Kyler Murray being 1-3 is not talked about a lot because there is 13 games, but it's almost kind of expected, right? For the Arizona Cardinals organization to be like this. But I mean, expectations for me, if you have a franchise quarterback, you got to start stacking up wins somehow, right? And yes, you could stack up wins in the later part of the season. That's the truth. But I mean, you also can't start off 1-4, 1-5, 1-6, 1-7, and then stack up wins. I mean, I guess technically you can. And I know this organization because I've been seeing it. We've been through it, right? Especially on this channel when Cliff was progressing. But Cliff also took us to the playoffs, and then we absolutely got demolished, and we just weren't ready for the last two games of the season. And on top of that playoff game, we had this is such a crossroads, and I'm not sure if you guys feel the same way. Do you guys feel deflated? Do you guys feel like the Cardinals, there's no chance? Let me know in the chat, and we'll highlight some people's comments here in the chat below. But I think there's a lot of Cardinal fans that are leaning very, very heavily on what Kyler could be and what Kyler was, right? What Kyler was in 2021 and what Kyler Murray could be. And that's a very scary spot to be in, because with what we've seen these last 2 years, and granted, yes, you cannot blame him for injuries. That's true, right? You can't. But the best ability is availability, right? Now, granted, Kyler Murray was hurt a lot of 2023, played 8 games. I mean, we only won 3 games, right? 3 out of the 8 games, we only won 8. I'm sorry, wow. We only won 3 out of those last 8 games. We won 3 with Kyler as our franchise quarterback. And now, with the making of the additions of what Monty Fort has done in the draft, as well as free agency, on paper, we seem to be a better team. Now, obviously, the wide receiving core is leaps and bounds better with Marvin Harrison Jr., right? Leaps and bounds better with Marvin Harrison Jr., but it seems like one of the biggest things that we're talking about week in and week out is what the heck is going on. Why isn't this connection? Why is this connection not blossoming to what we thought was going to be, right? That's the biggest question that we're always constantly asking. Now, this 49ers game, right? It's almost like this is a must win, but it's not, because expectations is you probably can't beat this team, right? That's what most people are saying. I understand the Cardinals are going to come out here and give their all, and it's a division game, and it's going to be week 5. There's still 17 more games before we play this one. I'm sorry, 13. Well, I can't math right now. 13 more games before we play this one, right? but the deflation of what this Cardinal fan base is feeling right now. Let me know if you guys feel the same way. We got my guy in the chat here. What's up, Same? He says, I'm not worried about I'm not worried about how much Beach can keep up at right tackle. Okay. We got Blazing say Baker's so much better than Kyler. Okay, so I guess we have a debate going on in the chat here with Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray. We got Anthony said we should have kept Dobbs. That's funny. Let's see here. We got Drama saying Rosen greater than Kyler Murray. Sheesh. Kyler needs to work more consistent. Last week was embarrassing. I agree. Okay, so a lot of different opinions, right? We got Dario in the chat says season is over due to our defense. Very few QBs can lead a team to wins with possible the worst front four in NFL history. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, we've had leaned. I really want somebody to ask Monty Austin for this question. Like seriously. And Jonathan Gannon too. Like Jonathan Gannon came out straight face to us and said he feels confident with what we have at edge and this defensive line. Now I get it, right? Nobody banked on the fact that BJ Ojulari was going to go down. Nobody banked on the fact that Darius Robinson was going to get hurt for the first 5 weeks of the season, right? Nobody banked on that, right? And obviously losing Justin Jones, one of your biggest, free agent acquisitions, which it's not that big of a name, but to us it is, right? Nobody accounted for those injuries to happen here. Would the Cardinals been better on defense? Maybe, right? Maybe. I mean, we still don't really know 100% what Darius Robinson is. I think a lot of us are leaning on the fact that what we've seen in preseason and what he's done in college, that it can translate to the NFL. But at the end of the day, we don't know, right? We don't know exactly what's going to turn out. BJ Ojulari, it was a big gut punch. It was. But the Cardinals organization, while these were happening, they still sat back and did nothing, right? We're adding pieces, but like the latest piece that we added was Ben Still. Like he was a former Cardinal before we ended up releasing him on the 53-man cut. But like those are the type of moves that the Cardinals are making, right? Like, oh, we're bringing back Ben Still, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to be very clear, like this is no disrespect to those specific players themselves, right? But like it's in a tribute to, okay, well, the Cardinals are here because of this situation that the front office is putting us in, right? So I'm not going to sit here and say the defense is the sole reason why the Cardinals are in the situation that they're in. No, I don't think that's the case because we've seen this defense give us some light in the Lions game. Did they get blown out in the Commanders? Yes. They did not pick a good game to not do anything, right? Yes, they did not look good. But I mean, we've shown some things here and there in the Bills game. And of course, we all know what happened in the Rams game. So this is not all on the defense. I want to be very, very clear. It's not all on the defense. But for the simple fact that for some reason this Arizona Cardinals organization thinks to themselves, and they came into the season, especially with all these injuries happening, and still sitting back and not doing anything, like it's crazy. It's crazy to me because you can't start off 1-4, right? And I know this graphic says you can't start off 1-5, but it almost kind of feels like if you're 1-4, you're probably most likely going to be 1-5, right? And even the most optimistic Cardinal fan out there, and we got a couple in the chat here, and appreciate you for being here, by the way. Like, we know Cardinals history, right? We know I know there's some Cardinals fans that have been a Cardinal fan for 5 or 6 years. Please keep in mind, you have not dealt with what Cardinals fans from St. Louis, Cardinals fans from the 80s has felt, right? So give those guys that want to vent, that want to say it's over, give them a little leeway because they got the battle scars, because they got what this organization has done to them as a fan for years, right? If you're a fan for 5 or 6 years, you really haven't gone through it, right? All you know is 5-6 years of Kyler Murray, and you got to give him some time. That's all really you know. But with what we've seen from history of what the Arizona Cardinals have done, usually they can't bounce back from stuff like that. Usually, right? Now I get it, different players, different regimes, right? There could be very winnable games towards the middle part of the season, towards the late part of the season. That's very true, right? But the frustrations that's coming from Cardinal fans is because of the constant losing. positive fans are looking at this season, right? And this season alone, where all the Cardinal fans are looking at the sample size of what we've seen in 6 years or the last 3 or 4 years. Last year of Cliff Kingsbury, and then, of course, the 2 years we've seen here from Jonathan Gannon. So there is a level of confusion, right? Confusion because this is Kyler Murray needs to find a way, right? Me personally, I'm not in the spot where I'm like, okay, we need to trade Kyler, right? I'm not there because I know that 13 more games, anything could happen in the NFL, right? I know there's Cardinal fans that are there, but I want to be very clear. I'm not there. But I'm also not those guys that don't feel like Kyler Murray has some sort of sliverness to blame because he does, right? We've seen the film. We know that things could have done better. We know that when he should have taken off and ran, sometimes he chooses to throw the ball to Marvin Harrison Jr. and it's behind Marvin, right? So, like, we've seen plays like that come out. And on top of that, the third down efficiency has been absolutely horrendous in his last 2 games. You're not going to be able to win games when you're 4 of 11, and then 1 for 9. You're not going to win games like that, right? And of course, when you win, the flowers go to the quarterback. When you lose, I mean, the blame's got to go to the quarterback too, or at least a little bit part of the quarterback. So what we need to see is, and I'm sorry to bring this out, it might be too much of an expectation, but to me, it ain't. We got to see 2021 Kyler Murray back. We got to, right? We need to be able to see that dynamicness of what Kyler Murray used to be. And we've seen flashes, right? I want to be very, very clear. We've seen flashes of this year in the Rams game. There was so much optimism about what Kyler Murray can do to this Drew Petting offense and how he's going to be able to, change, not constantly being always in the shotgun, right? But like, do you guys feel like when the Cardinals are down, we're still seeing Kyler in shotgun? I feel like we're still seeing Kyler in shotgun more than what we thought we were going to, right? It almost kind of seems like the Cardinals' plan in that first drive is flawless. We're scoring touchdowns. We're doing good in that first drive. And then somehow, some way, the plan falls apart, right? Plan falls apart. We need to see 2021 Kyler back. 2021 Kyler back. And like I said, we've seen flashes, but the biggest knock, obviously, on Kyler is the inconsistencies. The inconsistencies of, man, you did really good one week, and then what the heck happened the next week, right? Nobody was deflated after the Lions game, right? Nobody was deflated after the Lions game. We looked to ourselves and said, that team is probably going to be a Super Bowl team. And we lost by 7 points, right? So nobody was deflated. That Commanders team, that is a team that proves everybody's narrative wrong, right? The patient people, right? It's going to take time, right? This is part of the process, right? It's proof that if you get the right quarterback, if you get the right coaching staff, if you get the right people, because nobody, and I mean nobody, saw the beatdown the way that we did. Even Commanders fans didn't see that coming. Nobody saw that coming. The Cardinals are in a situation that they can turn the season around. It just starts off with a win. And I get it, right? Oh, just an easy win, just a simple way. It's not going to be easy. But it's something that you need to do. It's something that you need to do. We got my guy in the chat says, I blame the O-line, the right tackle. But I mean, here's the thing. Do you think that the Cardinals, short of that right tackle position, I mean, I don't think Jaden Daniels has the best offensive line. I don't think anybody that's winning, right? There's not one QB right now that has a flawless offensive line. Flawless, right? And it almost kind of feels like the positive people want to build a offensive line that's going to be able to give Kyler Murray 5 seconds back there. The realism of the NFL, ladies and gentlemen, that's not realistic. You need 2 or 3 seconds to find the right read. If not, and if you hold on to the ball, you're going to get sacked. 2 or 3 seconds is enough for Jaden Daniels to pick apart a defense, right? it's enough for what Tom Brady used to do, right? And I'm not saying Kyler's Tom Brady, or I don't put for him to eventually be Tom Brady. But what I'm saying is that if you know what defense is going to be on the field, you have a level of advantage, regardless if you have position issues at the right tackle position, right? Because center's held up pretty decent, right? For Holt, Will Hernandez has held up pretty decent. Paris Johnson Jr. has held up pretty decent. Evan Brown has held up pretty decent. So, like, I hear a lot of excuses, and I'm not trying to not give people hope or not give people dreams, but we cannot constantly use that as an excuse, right? If we know that the right tackle position is that bad, and I'm talking about the Cardinals organization, not just Kyler, Drew Petzing, the whole offensive staff, if they knew that if it's that bad of an issue that Kyler Murray cannot do anything because that right tackle has been a turnstile, then why hasn't the game plan changed, right? Why hasn't the game plan changed to the fact where Kyler Murray needs to get rid of the ball fast, or we're focusing down on these play actions, right? Bootlegs, do things like that to get Kyler Murray out of the pocket, right? Make him move, let him use his legs, because we were told that Kyler Murray doesn't need to play Superman in this offense. We need some sort of Superman from Kyler Murray, unfortunately, in order for him to succeed. We do. Kyler Murray is not a pocket quarterback. That's factual. He's not. What makes him good is that he's able to extend plays, do things on the whim, right? He's not a pocket passer. And although this might be what this coaching staff is trying to do, maybe it's not what he is. It's not who he is. So if that was the plan in the Commanders game, because I was told the same thing, that the Commanders, big man, they're not doing anything this year. I was told the same. So maybe Drew Petzing and maybe this front office was like, oh, we're not going to worry about pressure. Guess what? They had to worry about pressure because Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen, on paper, were good. And of course, they chose week 4 to go off. So the Arizona Cardinals right now, the coaching staff on the offensive side of the ball, they need to figure this out. They need to figure it out. If they see the film and they say to themselves, man, this right tackle position is killing us. We cannot do anything with him back there because it's killing us. I don't agree with it. I personally don't think that's the case. But for the people out there that seem to think that right tackle, that was it. Like, that's the problem, right? Because some people were like, oh, one position is going to completely derail this. Now, I do believe that it does take 11 people to make a very functionable offense, a very functionable defense. That I do agree with. But if you're looking back at the game, it's not always on the right tackle. There's plays to be made by Kyler, by the other offensive weapons, right, that we have, either making the catch or do something along the lines of just, I don't know, beating your guy, right? Beating your guy. So we need to find a way to get Kyler Murray running again. Is there a level of concern that potentially he can get hurt again? Yes, there is. But with Kyler Murray, you're always going to have that level of concern. But, like, he's here to play quarterback. He's here to win games for the Cardinals, right? That's why he was drafted number 1 overall. So we got to ask ourselves, are we worried about running Kyler Murray too much because we're fearing him getting hurt? If that's the case, then Kyler Murray cannot be 2021 Kyler Murray again. I'm not saying run Kyler Murray to the ground. I'm not looking for 20 plus. No, I'm not looking for 20 plus carries from Kyler. No, but I'm looking for 3 or 4 crucial design plays for Kyler Murray to get a chance to run. 3 or 4 a game. Situational times. Drew Petzing, I'll give you the opportunity to obviously pick the times when you do it. But I think we need some design plays for Kyler Murray. Not just RPO, but specifically where this, if Tip Ryman's there to block, The offensive line is fully aware that, hey, this is going to be a run play from Kyler. We got to go ahead and block our guys to get our guy a sliver to get 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 yards, right? We need to be able to stand toe-to-toe with this team. And I'm talking about the 49ers. Some people might think it's unreasonable for us to stand toe-to-toe with this team. But if you start off at 1-4, ladies and gentlemen, chances are you're probably starting off at 1-5. Chances, right? Can you gain more momentum? Yes, you can. But we'll have to kind of wait and see how it all shakes out. We do have got a couple comments here in the chat. I want to go and make sure I highlight them. Appreciate you guys for being here, by the way. Chris F., what's up, Chris? At some point, Kyler needs to step up consistently. No more excuses for him. Okay, I like that. If you're getting paid $230 million, you get no other choice. Be Superman. That's fair. I saw something here we go. We need to use Tip to help out Beachum with dealing with Bosa on the edge. That's fair. Yeah, I mean, that's fair, right? I mean, everything that we've done, or I think at least the talk that we've done from this coaching staff, Drew Petzing, Jonathan Gannon, is that we're able to adapt, right? We're able to adapt game by game. We're adapting to who we're playing. So if the right tackle position is that bad, right? Like some people want to come out here and say, I don't think it's that bad. I think it's obviously probably a weak point because of the turnstile of what it was. I don't think it's to the point where it's bad. But if they feel like it is, then yeah, bring in a tight end, but preferably Tip Ryman to help Bosa, right? But like we also got to remember, like Aiden Hutchinson, and this was with no Beachum, right? If I can remember correctly, this was with no Beachum. Aiden Hutchinson only had 1 sack. Now, did he pressure Kyler? Yes, there was pressures. But he was only really impactful in a sack-wise 1 time. So, like, this offense is holding up their end of the bargain. Kyler's going to get sacked. Kyler's going to hold the ball too long. He's going to get rattled. That's the name of the game. They have players that get paid too, right? They want to put up stats on the opposing side. It's not just on, like they're going to get theirs. But the problem is that we need to be able to bounce back and punch them in the mouth by either Kyler being unleashed or this offense running the ball to the point of no return. And we're just, owning the San Francisco 49ers. Because to be honest with you, the only really key I see to win this game against the 49ers is for this offense to stay on the field to the point where we're killing clock, but we're constantly scoring points. Where they are the ones that are having to try to catch up with the Cardinals, where we force them into a mistake. That's really the only way I see the Cardinals can win this game, is that we are seeing a level of the Cardinals football that we saw in week 2 versus the Rams. It's the only way I see the Cardinals win. Are we going to give up points? Yes. The Cardinals defense will give up points. Breaking news. But this offense is what we were promised and sold on is going to be our bright spot. Has not produced in the last two weeks. It hasn't. And somebody needs to figure it out, right? Kyler Murray has came out yesterday. I'm sorry, not yesterday. I apologize. The day before, and provided a little insight, obviously, in how he feels about big takeaways and takeaways from him. I want to go ahead and really highlight what he said about personal takeaways. And when the media asked, what was your biggest takeaways in the game versus the Commanders? And this is what he said.
I just think, I got to be better. To go out there and put 14 points up, that's not the standard that we hold ourselves to. I feel like I'm surrounded by a lot of great players, so that's I would never expect us to go out there and put up 14 points. We don't practice for 14 points, but this is the NFL. It is not easy, and I definitely expect to have a better week this week.
So one thing that I like that Kyler said is that I need to be better, right? That's one thing that I was asking for in the post game. I was like, I need you to say I, right? I. It's a lot of we. And honestly, we is including I. So like. But I want to hear I. So I love the fact that he said, obviously, the fact that I need to get better. So I love that. Now, with the whole so much stats that has been put out there, right? We're living in an age where you're seeing stats on wide receiver separation. And the reason why I bring this is shout out to my guy Keenan here in the chat. He says receivers aren't good enough and Petzing is bad. If the Cardinals think that the wide receivers aren't good enough, right? Why not give other people opportunities, right? Let's say, for example, because I kind of only imagine that there is Cardinal fans that believe that this Arizona Cardinal wide receiving core is not the best. But I mean, Michael Wilson is no slouch. Marvin Harrison Jr., yes, he's a rookie, but he's making massive plays. We haven't really seen Greg Dortch the way that I thought we were going to see Greg Dortch, especially in that slot position. Is our offense going to get unleashed when Zay Jones comes back, right? And he comes back next week because I think he's got a 5-game suspension. Is that going to be the case? Like, why are we making the changes? I don't think it's solely on wide receivers personally. I'm just thinking that for the people out there saying that the wide receivers aren't causing separation, right? Because I already know, like, there's a stat for everything these days. There's a stat for everything these days. With PFF, man, people think that everything's attributed because what PFF has provided. And honestly, kudos to PFF with everything that they're actually providing and getting down to the finer details. But I think it takes away from you actually just using your eyes and seeing exactly what you're seeing, right? Not what this company's seeing that they gather metrics and then provide to you. No, you make your own decision. If you don't think that wide receivers are doing good because that's just your thought process, then okay. But if you're going based off because of the whole the wide receiver separation because of a company that provided some sort of stat to you, I don't buy it because I don't think this wide receiving core is bad. I don't think it is. I don't think the Arizona Cardinals can land these explosive plays because the Arizona Cardinal offense they cannot convert a third down to save their lives. 1-9 is unacceptable in the Lions game. 4-11 is not good enough. I don't think it has anything to do with the wide receivers. I think that this offense is still just clunky. Whether that's Kyler, whether that's the offensive line, whether that's you want to put some blame on the wide receivers. Heck, let's put some blame on Drew Petzing. It's everybody. Kyler Murray has more than adequate enough players to throw the ball to. I promise you. We also need to talk because Jaden Daniels. Who does Jaden Daniels have? Terry McLaurin? Who else? Who else does Jaden Daniels have? Does he have a tight end? Like the Cardinals having Trey McBride? They got Zach Ertz, veteran. Who else do they have? These quarterbacks need to make things happen. Patrick Mahomes arguably had one of the worst wide receiving cores, and it's probably just got even worse this last week with Rashee Rice going down. But he's still making things happen, and I get him. Kyler's not Patrick Mahomes. Never would I compare him to Patrick Mahomes. But what I'm saying is that there's quarterbacks out there that make what they have, and they make it work. And they make it work. What's up, Thomas? Let me correct myself. He's not regressing. We're using him too much, and he's getting tired too quickly. Okay, Okay, here we go. Can we talk about how James Conner has regressed severely? He barely gets past the line play after play. Honestly, okay, so then you corrected yourself. He's not regressing. We're using him way too much. Okay. With James Conner, James Conner's still the best running back we have, right? And I think nobody can disagree with that. We are leaning very, very heavy on James Conner. That's a fact, right? What happens if James Conner goes down? We've seen it year in and year out. We see it year in and year out that happens to James Conner. Can he stay healthy? All we're hoping is for fingers crossed, a prayer that he stays healthy. But he has been making some very questionable cuts. And it all starts with when he's in shotgun and he's trying to run wide, right? When the play's in shotgun and he's trying to run wide, sometimes he goes a little too far out when he could just make the quick cut. But that's also taking James Conner off what he does best as well. Like, if that's what we were going to do, why don't we have Michael Carter back in this, right? Michael Carter is really good in those type of plays. He's the Thunder to, or he's the Lightning to the Thunder of what James Conner could be. Why we don't have Michael Carter in this 53 is beyond me. Del McCardo has not really done very much other than the garbage kind of plays that we see him every time. I'm not saying him and let me clarify. Other than the garbage time plays, so the garbage time when we're already down and we see Demicardo, I'm not saying he's garbage. I'm saying the garbage time plays when we see him, right? Trey Benson has looked like a rookie. Hopefully he'll get better. But why we are not using or why we didn't bring up Michael Carter is beyond me. I don't understand it. James Conner is go north. That's your thing. Why we're making him go out wide is, I don't understand it. Because he bounces too much. He wants to find that hole, but like he's better off with when we're under center, right? So I don't know. There's a lot of question marks right now. A lot of question marks with this Arizona Cardinals team. A lot of question marks. Let's continue with the chat. Appreciate you for being here, by the way. AZ, what's up, Landon? How you doing? He says, it's not Kyler's fault that we're losing. It's the fact that Drew Petzing needs to go. I think we can win out of 2, and I think we're going to beat the Chargers, but we don't need a panic just yet. So that will put us at 3 and 4. 3 and 4 and bad. 3 and 4 and bad. 3 and 4 and it's not bad. Right? Because if you beat the Chargers, that's 2. You take one of these games, 3 and 4 ain't bad. 3 and 4 is not bad at all. If that happens, right? This is going to be very, very telling. This game is going to be very telling. Big Bird, what's up, man? He says, I'll say it again, Mike. The fact that we can score with ease every opening drive tells me we have players that can execute if the plays if the right plays are called. True. Oh, so you're okay. I'm sorry. So I thought you said we're gonna take one of these 2 games. I thought you said we're gonna take one of these 2 games and then we're gonna beat the Chargers. So you're saying we're losing to the Chargers? No, we're winning the Chargers, but we're losing these next 2 games. Don't panic. You said. Okay, well then I panic. The 2 and 5 is not good. 3 and 4 obviously a lot more idealistic. But you're right. Yeah, no, I mean this is a good comment here. The fact that we can score with ease in the opening drive tells me that we have the players that can. Yeah, I agree. Something happens. I don't know what happens after that first drive. After that first drive, I have no idea what happens to this offense. Play calls aren't good. Yeah. But keep in mind too, like if this offense is being designed to do really well in this first drive, like we have it played up, that means Kyler Murray is completely comfortable with it as well, right? So that means that Kyler Murray is comfortable with the first drive, the plays, he knows them down like the back of his hand. So it can be a couple things, right? Are we just not calling the right plays? That's a possibility. You might be right. Or is Kyler Murray just not seeing the open wide receiver when, we're already in the game? I don't know. It's everything. It's everything. I feel like it's a lot of different things. Thomas, what's up, Thomas? We have a good defense and see what they can do when our offense is staying out there. But when our defense is being forced to stay on the field because our offense is never out there, that's an issue. That's true. We cannot expect this defense to win us games. That's factual. I think they can give us some 3 and outs, and I mean maybe 2 and 3. They can cause a takeaway. That's factual. But you're right. If the offense is constantly putting them in a position that they're out there, it's a bad decision. Yeah, 100%. Recipe for disaster. Replacing Kyler is impossible. We need new weapons or play calls. Well, right now, seeing what Monty's doing, right, the way Monty's handling this, maybe Zay Jones is going to give us the uplift. Because if Zay Jones can be that slot guy for the Cardinals, like maybe it is a wide receivers. I don't think it is. I personally don't. But let's just throw another excuse out there, right? Maybe Zay Jones coming in week 6 will open up more help for Kyler Murray in the middle of the field. Maybe. I still think Michael Wilson is a solid number 2. I really do. I know the numbers haven't turned out the way that it did, but I think it's just obviously situational. We've seen him make really good catches. Really good catches. He's an NFL wide receiver. It's just the flow of this game needs to determine their numbers, right? And the flow has just not been good at all. Flow's been bad. I'll say there's no way that 4th and 1 touchdown pass to Marvin Harrison Jr. was scripted. I think we need to highlight our playmakers more. Well, that was a good play. Yeah, that was a good play. Kyler Murray making a really good throw, right? So there is kudos to where kudos is due, and Kyler Murray made a really good throw. A really good throw, really good catch from Marvin. If that didn't work, oof, that would have been bad. That would have been bad. Honestly, we should have been 2-2, but the Bills and the Rams, but we lost both to the Commanders and the Lions. I mean, shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? It's one of those things that, like, we can't always lean on. We should have got that PI call. We can't always lean on that. I see what you're saying, and I know you're looking at this from a positive standpoint, but the realism is that we're 1-3, right? We got to find a way to turn it around. Jimbo, what's up, Jimbo? How is it possible when you see guys year 1? See guys year 1, year 2 make difference. So are you saying the Kyler Murray topic is what you're talking about, Jimbo? I mean, well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, that there is fault to Kyler. Like, there is. Like, I'm not one of those guys that's saying Kyler Murray is not at fault. Like, he is. He takes some sort of blame in this whole offensive debacle. Absolutely. You might be responding to somebody, and that might be what's going on. Big Bird. Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride, James Conner, Kyler's using his legs more. Build our offense on these things. Do you think that the Cardinals are just doing too much? Right? Do you think that we're like, oh, right? You need to have design plays specifically for these 3 guys, like focus down on these 3 weapons is what you're saying? Maybe that might simplify things. Yeah, potentially. Chef, what's up, Chef? Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you for being in the chat. I feel like Drew Petzing doesn't know how to play call from behind. Going back to last year, besides the Giant game, the defense just couldn't hang. But he can't play call from behind. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I mean, right now, I think the biggest... What are the 2 biggest issues right now, you think? If you can give me 2 big issues right now, 2 of them. In the chat below, what are the 2 biggest issues on why this offense can't get going? Let me 2. Either two people, 2 positions, scheme, this, whatever. Just 2 things right now that you feel like the reason why the Arizona Cardinals offense can't get going in the second half. Because this is not the first time this has happened. The Cardinals struggled last year, too, with the same issue with Josh Dobbs. And obviously with Kyler Murray in a couple games. What do you think the 2 biggest problems are? Guy in the chat says Xavier Weaver. Where is he at? That's a good question. That's a very good question. It's a very, very good question. Where is Xavier Weaver, right? And not just Xavier Weaver, Chris Moore, right? You brought Chris Moore in to do something. Like, if this coaching staff feels like the wide receiving core is not cutting it, right? And I'm just saying if. I don't think that's the case, but if they feel like it, then make changes. Make changes. So we got Blazing saying battle line and dropped passes. Unused cap space and O-line. I like that. Thomas says, I think one of our biggest issues as a team is Kyler and his sour attitude when we start losing. Cameras always cut to him pouting on the bench. He needs to ignite or get people. Or I know what you're saying. Okay, let's keep it going with the chat. Unused cap and no sunlight. That's hilarious. Play calling and Murray doesn't know his hot reads when he's blitzed. I hate it when the Cardinals play at home. It feels like away games. I mean, you know what we can do to solve that? You know what you got to do to solve that? Win. That's it. Just win it. It's not rocket science. I get it. People are not happy about the takeover of State Farm Stadium, but guess what? Win. That's it. Just win. Win. That's it. Win, and the Cardinal fans will come. It's unfortunate. That's the way that our fan base is, but we know it. It's not rocket. Just win, and then they'll come. My two things that I feel like is the biggest issues is the Drew Petting. And I think Kyler has some blame too as well. I think Kyler has blame too. There's no way that we're still struggling with the same things that we have since beginning Kyler. I don't think it's wide receivers, personally. I don't think it's the wide receivers. I've seen plenty of tape where there's been open wide receivers. I've seen multiple plays, at least 2 or 3 in multiple games, that the flat route is the best option, and you just need to chuck it quick. Boom. Chuck it quick. Boom to James Conner. Let him get 2 to 3 yards. Instead, hold the ball and either attributes to a sack or it's an incompletion. I think the flat route needs to be used very, very obviously if it's open and it's a short down play, or if it's something that can get you 2 or 3 yards and maybe a conversion. My two things I feel like is Drew Petzing and Kyler, honestly. I don't know if Kyler Murray is fully 110% on this playbook. Truly. I think the wide receivers are more than enough, truly. And if the coaching staff doesn't, they should make changes. Thomas, what's the Thomas? Definitely Kyler is holding the ball way too long. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Watch the film, ladies and gentlemen. Take the blinders off. Take the emotion out of it. Please, just do it. Take the emotion. I know there's some very, very, very strong Kyler Murray fans, and that's fine. Back your quarterback, but just re-watch it. If you have access to the All-22, watch it. Because there's been multiple plays that can get the Cardinals to continue their drive. Whether it's a really quick flat route to James Conner, and for some reason that has not really looked at very often. Kyler Murray throwing the ball away. How are we still struggling with him running out of bounds and he loses 2 or 3 yards? How are we still struggling with that? 3rd and short, Cardinals decide to throw it. Kyler's a year 6 quarterback. Let's be very clear. There's no way he chose to throw the ball. He could have ran it. He could audible out of that play, right? And I get it. It's such a small sample size, but it shows that I think this offensive coordinator has trust in him. We haven't come out. Nobody's asked him, but I'm assuming he can audible out of plays. We hear him. We hear him say this. He moves people around. Why was the option to throw the ball in that 3rd and short? There's still some things that worry me about Kyler that we've seen in year 2, year 3. 2nd and short, 3rd and short, chuck the ball deep. I don't get it. I don't get that. All right, let's read a couple more comments, and then we're going to go ahead and close up shop. Iron, what's up, Iron? He says, at AZ Sports Fan, I watched the first 3 weeks so far and only noticed one glaring difference. Rams and Cardinals had 42% under center. Buffalo / Detroit, 14 and 20% under center. Have not watched Washington. That's a very fascinating, really. So a lot more under center under Rams, huh? Who would have thunk? I mean, if this is true, I have noticed Kyler Murray more in shotgun, especially when we're behind. especially when we're behind. I have noticed Kyler Murray and shotgun a lot more. And we know what, like if you send a blitz, usually you can get him back there. That's interesting. That's interesting. Appreciate that, Iron. Chef, what's up, Chef? It's funny you say that, Mike. We are up. Wait, sorry. When we are up, crap, I can't read. Sorry. When we are up, we do that all day. But when we get behind and Kyler wants to get points fast and tries to get points, yeah, and that's the thing too. Exactly, 100%. Yep. It's what I've noticed too. When we're down, it almost kind of feels like we want that home run ball, right? It's like, chuck the ball deep. We got to get these points quick, 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 quick. But when we're in control, and we haven't been in control very often this year. I just want to be very clear. We haven't been in control very often. But it does seem like in that Rams game, everything was clicking in all cylinders, right? The right reads were being made when we're down. Almost kind of seems like there's a little level of panic, right? There's a little level of panic that goes about when the Cardinals are down. I would hope by year 6 we would have got that patted down. Mr. Fat Gangster, what's up? Scheme needs to go back to what works, plain and simple. I mean, the understandard seems to not be bad, right? I mean, sometimes when James Conner gets tackled in the backfield when we're under center, that's probably just attributed to every first down feels like a run play. And the defense probably knows that already, right? Or just being predictable, right? If the Cardinals get out of the predictability phase and maybe play action, fake a run to James Conner on first and 10, and maybe, let one rip, like JG says, let one rip to Michael Wilson, to Trey McBride, to Marvin Harrison Jr., one of those guys, right? We do got to get out of the predictability that the Cardinals are currently in right now, and we are seeming predictable. I ain't gonna lie to you, we're seeming pretty darn predictable. Let's go with here we go. Is it Dubro? What's up? I don't get why Drew basically scraps the whole Rams scheme after dropping 41 points. Because the way that this coaching staff's mind works is that week by week, it doesn't affect what happens the week prior. We've heard JG say this multiple times. And I don't get it. I don't understand why JG says things like this, because I think momentum personally is a big thing. I think momentum is a real thing in sports, right? Because for some reason, this coaching staff doesn't feel like what happens in 1 week can translate to week 2 or the next week. Don't understand it. Don't get it. But I agree with you. I agree. If Kyler needs to audible out of every play, what's the point of having Drew? The point is that, well, I mean, here's the thing, right? Look, when you're calling a play, right? When you're calling a play, and I'm talking about Drew Petzing, when he's calling a play, this is before we see the defense, right? Usually, when you're putting the formation out there, whether it's shotgun, under standard, 12 person, whatever formation is out there, usually it's before you see the defense show their hand, right? So the audibles is supposed to be able to say, okay, I see this, right? I see a safety blitz coming to the right. So I'm going to shift the play over to maybe a pitch out to the left, something to the left to where the blitz is coming our way, this way, but we're doing something that way, right? Almost very similar to where, I don't know if you guys remember, but that Washington Commanders game last week, I know we all blocked it out, but the Washington Commanders game where there was a blitz coming to a specific side, and then the genius of what Jaden Daniels did, let me audible to where I make a run play to the opposite side of the blitz. And guess what? It worked out to a T, because we had so many people coming over here that I don't know if it was it might have been the running back, basically took it, and it was a house call. It was a genius call. So audibles are important because it's supposed to be Kyler Murray dissecting the defense that we're seeing on the field, right? Drew Petzing calls the initial play. The initial play. So, I mean, offensive coordinators are important. Drew is becoming Cliff 2.0. I don't know about that. I think he's in his own league right now. I don't know if I would call him Cliff 2.0. I know there's a lot of Cardinal fans not happy, And I mean, rightfully so. I mean, they shouldn't be happy with what we've been seeing these last two these last two seasons. I'm sorry, wow, these last two weeks. I always thought we should have gotten a new head coach and made Cliff our offensive coordinator. But the thing is that, like, I don't think Cliff would ever accept that. Would you? If you were a manager somewhere working and they told you weren't going to cut it, you got to get back to the bottom work, right? I don't think anybody would do that, honestly. I mean, Cliff's still getting paid by the Cardinals. I think he's fine. The Cardinals chose Cliff or Kyler over Cliff. That's just the way that it is. Do you regret trading? Well, we didn't trade Kingsbury. We fired him. I know I don't regret it. No, because I know that Cliff, he had moments with us too. Let's not forget that Cliff Kingsbury had moments. We were undefeated at one point, and everybody was praising Cliff Kingsbury at one point, right? The problem was that the connection with this man right here and Cliff got to the point where it just boiled up, and we know what happened. So the Cardinals chose Kyler over Cliff. No, I don't regret firing him. I think it was the right thing to do. I don't think he was suited for a head coach. I think he's a good offensive mind and needs to worry just on that. He needs to just worry about the offensive side of the ball. So no, I don't regret it. A couple more, and then we'll close up shop. I think Drew should go back to the 13 personnel. Look, he was using against the Rams play action with Kyler and Connor in the great tight end we have is hard to stop. Yeah, I agree with you. It's wild. When the Cardinals are down, look, the Cardinals are in shotgun a lot more. And we are trying to take those home run balls. And I don't understand it. I really, really don't. But all right, we're going to be closing up shop. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I absolutely do appreciate it. Everybody who's obviously rocking out here with the AZ Sports Fan here. We will be trying to go live Monday to Friday at 12, just to kind of have a therapy session, ladies and gentlemen. I know this season hasn't turned out the way that it is, but it can turn around, right? Next week, we could talk about 2 and 3 Cardinals. Hopefully, fingers crossed. We'll see. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be closing up shop. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. If you could do me a huge favor, smack up the like button. Right now, we're sitting with 26 likes with over 60 people watching. Let's see if we can hit 35 to 40 likes here on this stream. Let me give a huge shout out here to BetUS, which is the sponsors of the Arizona Sports Fan here on YouTube. Right now, if you use promo code YouTube150 upon signing up, you will be getting a 125% sign up bonus. 150% sign up bonus on your first deposit, and on the following two will be 125% sign up bonus by using promo code YouTube150 upon signing up. If you're looking for a brand new sportsbook, BetUS is the way to go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate you for tuning in. As always, it's always been a pleasure speaking to you guys. Thank you. As always, get Kyler Murray running again. Use our weapons, and I think we should be able to get back on track. I don't want to see another Washington Commanders game. Let me tell you that. All right, y'all. Appreciate you for tuning in. As always, have a great rest of your day, and as always, go Cardinals.